New features coming to YouTube will allow anybody, including you, to get more views in 2018 if you watch this video in its entirety and implement.
Brian G. Johnson!
Hey, it's me, Brian G. Great to have you back on the channel. If you're new, stake your claim, amplify your message by subscribing, click the bell notification, and you'll be on your way. In my recent video on dominating the YouTube suggested video algorithm, I talked about how important and powerful it is when you understand expected watch time per impression. By the way, that video is doing fantastic. 10,000 views in a number of weeks. You see, up until now, we've only been able to really measure the total amount of watch time. Things like average view duration, audience retention, and of course, accumulated watch time. And the problem is that's not really how YouTube measures watch time. YouTube is measuring watch time on a per impression basis, meaning how often viewers are clicking on your videos. But that's all about to change. You see, on February 28th, 2018, the Creator Insider channel released a video and went over these details. YouTube is currently working on adding things like impressions, click-through rate, as well as unique viewers to your videos. This is basically just how often viewers are clicking on your thumbnails, your videos. Finally, the metric that YouTube uses to measure watch time we'll have access to, and even better, we'll be able to test, tweak, and improve our thumbnails to drive those views, to increase our watch time, and to grow our channels a lot faster. Now, we know, based on the Deep Neural Network white paper that was written by a handful of Google engineers, that YouTube does, in fact, split test videos against one another in suggested videos. And I believe that YouTube is also split testing videos against one another in browse as well as search locations here on YouTube. And these really are the three most important traffic sources on YouTube. Now, on Creator Insider's video, they mentioned that two metrics would be displayed next to each other, one being the click-through ratio as well as impressions, and the other being average view duration. And what's interesting is I actually wrote up this video a week prior to the video coming out on Creator Insider. And it's great to know that I've been on the right track when really talking about and sharing ideas about the whole expected watch time per impression. This is how it would play out on YouTube in real time. For example, YouTube shares your video on the homepage of 100 subscribers, your subscribers, as well as non-subscribers. Now, if the click-through ratio, again, that's how many people are actually clicking on your video, is lower than the average, that would really negatively impact your watch time metrics, and your video would struggle to remain on the browse traffic source. And again, that's the homepage. And that's element number one, the click-through ratio of your video. Now, the second element, as I mentioned, is average view duration. This is how long, on average, a group of viewers watch your video. If your video has a very high average view duration, that's really going to help you, especially if your click-through ratio is higher on your video. Let's simplify this whole split testing thing to really make it easy to understand. And in order to do so, we'll focus on two videos, that's videos A and B in a split test scenario. Now, both videos have an average view duration of 5 minutes, and both videos are shown to 100 users on the YouTube homepage, the user's homepage. And video A generates 1 click per those 100 impressions, and video B generates 3 clicks per those 100 impressions. Thus, video A generates 5 minutes of expected watch time per 100 impressions. Not that great. Video B generates 15 minutes of watch time per 100 impressions because the click-through rate is 3 times of that of video A. And thus, the winner of this split test is obviously video B because of the increased click-through ratio, and video B would be promoted over video A on the browse and possibly suggested in search traffic locations on YouTube. And thus, video A may get demoted on YouTube because the expected watch time per impression is lower. And this is why creating compelling thumbnails is absolutely mission critical. And this is why I'm constantly testing and tweaking various thumbnail designs in order to drive and compel viewers to click. And let me tell you, it's been working and I've been driving more views. For example, I recently asked a group of YouTubers on Facebook which of these two thumbnails they would click. And the answer by the majority of the YouTubers that responded was they would click on the serious, or that is the top thumbnail that was posted to Facebook. And this is helpful, but we don't know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this absolutely is the winner because the data is skewed. However, when YouTube rolls out these new features, the whole click-through ratio and impressions, we'll be able to know beyond a shadow of a doubt which thumbnails are more compelling, and that is so incredibly powerful. And furthermore, it allows you to really test out your thumbnails to drive more clicks and get more views. But what are some of the things that you can do to compel users to click your thumbnails? Well, you can leverage the power of science because we know the human mind is visually drawn to certain things over others. For example, right now, your eye was first captivated by the red color. How do we know that? Well, statistically speaking, scientifically speaking, the human eye is drawn to vibrant, rich, and saturated colors over those that are pale and, well, pale. And scientifically, that's how you can get noticed on YouTube, by leveraging the power of science to compel viewers to notice your thumbnail first and click. And I've got 10 hacks, 10 visual hacks that you can use to draw viewers in and win the click. And what we just covered was visual hack number 1, leverage bright, saturated colors. Why do you think my thumbnails are red? Because red is the most vibrant color of all. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't use blue, but when you select a blue, just make sure, again, it's vibrant, it's saturated, and it'll really draw viewers in and you'll win the click. And by the way, this is stuff that YouTube has said helps with search traffic, viewership, and click-through ratio. Yeah, click-through ratio. This document was from an old PDF from back in the day, and YouTube has said that thumbnails increased click-through ratio, especially the good ones that we're gonna make. Visual hack number 2, leverage the power of a face. Doing so will amplify your videos because human beings are drawn to faces. The most successful YouTubers, time and time again, incorporate their face in their thumbnail. Now, it's not about being incredibly good looking. It's about using what you got and doing the best you can. Colonel Sanders is a great example. Now, this next one I found really interesting. Visual hack number 3, diagonal lines over straight. You see, when I got started back in the day, my thumbnails incorporated a splat border, but I didn't really like the way the splats looked when the thumbnail was reduced down to the size of your thumb. Crazy. And I began to experiment with a regular border, and that looked better, but when I created an angular border, an angular black border, it really popped and grabbed my eye, and I thought, awesome, poodle. Hey, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, consider liking or sharing. Thank you so much. Visual hack number 4, think comprehension. Viewers don't read thumbnails on YouTube. Viewers comprehend, they understand what the image, the thumbnail is about. Defined, comprehend means just that, to understand. And that's all you want viewers to do. You want them to understand the core element of what your video is about. So as you're creating your thumbnail, simply ask yourself, what is the core message this video contains that I want viewers to comprehend? For example, this video was first going to be titled, How to Get Noticed on YouTube in 2018 and Grow Your Channel Fast. And I created this thumbnail design to show you what not to do. Just because I've got all these words, how to get noticed on YouTube in 2018, grow fast, doesn't mean I should incorporate those on my thumbnail. The thumbnail is harder to understand and comprehend, especially at a glance, versus this thumbnail, Scientific Secrets to Get Noticed. Now, this thumbnail really gets to the core of what my video is about. It's only got a few words versus like 7 or 8. Less is more, and that takes us to the next visual hack. And visual hack number 5, large dominant objects over smaller ones. This article on Avat2Tuts talks about how the human eye is compelled and drawn to bigger objects in photos or images, and this is why I always create the biggest words I can, and I do that by reducing the number of words in my thumbnails. Very effective, always works to win the click. Okay, time for another scientific experiment. Now, your eye was just drawn to the blue square on the right. Notice me and click. Why? Because the eye is drawn to contrasting colors. Colors are something that so many YouTubers mix up. Now, you can even create more contrast by incorporating what's called a stroke around the lettering. In this example, I added a 5-pixel black stroke and the text stands out even more. Hey, how do you like the new bookshelf lighting? Let me know, leave a comment below. You're still watching? Visual hack number 7, leveraging the power of pleasing color combinations. In our last example, blue and black simply do not work when it comes to colors, and I know that black isn't a color, but you get the idea. Now, another color combination that I personally don't believe works real well is red and blue. And in this example, you see exactly what I'm talking about. The blue and the red really clash. They don't work well together. Now, some of the times people have said, but Brian, what about Superman? And it's a really good point, but if you really study Superman, you'll notice, especially when it comes to the lettering, the emblem, the giant S on his chest, the background is yellow. Yellow and red work much better than blue and red. And this is why the color combination with the Superman design works really well. In fact, if we go even deeper, you'll see that the Superman belt is also yellow. This is to create balance when looking at Superman and like, wow, we're really going geeky and nerdy in this video. Bottom line, Superman without yellow, total dork, total Clark Kent. Visual hack number 8, the eye is drawn to those items that are in focus. Now, Pam Duthie does a great job with creating these blurred thumbnail designs where the focal object is very sharp and the rest of the thumbnail is blurred. One of the things I did when kind of playing with Pam's thumbnails was actually to darken the blurred area because the human eye is also drawn to brighter colors over darker colors, and I thought that would help create even more contrast and win the click even more. Pam, thank you so much for being a patron and sharing your awesome thumbnails. And I'm so glad you stuck around because this last tip is where we really take things to the next level. Creating repeated patterns in your thumbnail design. And the reason being is because the human eye is drawn to patterns. And when you create a complete thumbnail design that you repeat over multiple thumbnails and those show up together in suggested videos or the search location on YouTube, they're gonna stand out. They're gonna draw attention because of the patterns. So how can you create patterns? Well, incorporate and leverage the same colors again and again. For example, my thumbnails only contain 4 colors. That's yellow, white, red, and black. That's it. And furthermore, the style of my thumbnails, it's kind of like a pop art kind of a thing. Works really well, creates a pattern. Another thing you can do to create a pattern is to use the same fonts again and again. I use 2 fonts always, Menlo and Sans Source Pro, which is a mouthful, but it's a font too. Another thing you can do is add an element or a logo to your thumbnails. Now, I do that with my logo, and it creates this kind of G effect on all my thumbnails. Awesome. And you can see on my channel, as well as suggested in search locations on YouTube, this creates a lot of different patterns that the eye is drawn to, and it helps me to win the click. And visual hack number 10 is to leverage the power of suggested video views. Now, we've talked about expected watch time per impression, and this video located in the YouTube card right now goes over how you can get more views in suggested video locations on YouTube. Wicked! Now do this, dab, and then stake your claim, amplify your message by subscribing. Click on the yellow B to the G icon below. You'll subscribe. I'll continue to share the strategies and tactics that have allowed me to grow, and you'll feed a poodle. I got 2, and they're hungry and away today. I'll see you next time. You dig?